Very good.
This is Jessie, and I'm here with Robert Fallon. We had planned a seminar where Robert was going to be gracious enough to fly in and hold a seminar for our clients and anybody really who wanted to attend on financial planning, because I think that's such a key component of dealing with life and real estate, both of which have to be planned in order to get to a goal. So Robert, how are you and where are you?
Yeah, doing very well, Jesse. So I'm holed up in my office here in beautiful Colorado Springs. Luckily, it's starting to warm out where I've got Pikes Peak right here in the view. So it's starting to clear up and get a little warmer outside. So we're excited about that for sure.
Oh, that's nice. I'm one of those places that I definitely want to visit. So right off the bat, the question that occurs to me is, you're in Colorado Springs. How are you going to help me here in Virginia as a financial planner?
No, very good question. So what's been exciting, I think even the pandemic as it's gone on, more and more business shifts to virtual space. So it's been exciting that even before then, myself and my team, we were working with people on everywhere from California to Virginia to Washington, D.C., and so forth, and kind of everywhere in between, either traveling or on a virtual basis. So thankfully, we were well prepared to make the transition, and we've had many clients that have been gracious to follow that transition that we've been placed in as well.
Awesome. So in other words, the portfolio remains the same whether you're in Colorado or you're in Virginia. We just need guidance through it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
awesome. So tell me a little about you.
Yeah, well, and real quick, I'll just say I'm really thankful for you having me on to do this. I know when we were putting together the seminar and how excited it was, the plans coming together, little did we know that, just fast forward a month later and we were going to be in the midst of a totally different economic time, a totally different, time that, none of us have truly faced before. So, but just a quick introduction about me. I am a proud father of two. So I've got a 3-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. I was raised as an Air Force brat, so we kind of moved all across the country. And I know my parents, that's how they met you all as well, through church as well. So I'm glad we could make the connection as well. So I'd call Ohio home. That's just the longest I'd ever been in one place, being a military brat per se. And from that time, I knew I'd always wanted to be in business and finance and financial management. So I got a bachelor's degree in financial management. While I was finishing up the degree, I wanted to get started on in my career field. So I joined a private equity group, worked my way up to lead analyst on roughly a $2.5 billion portfolio. And at the end, slowly realized, we knew we wanted to move out to Colorado to be with my wife's parents, and she's a Colorado native. So being near the mountains was also important. At the same time, I realized I also enjoyed, and I joke, I enjoyed, the things that I learned there, the experience I got, but at the same time, it was a lot of sitting behind a computer screen, and I enjoy going out and talking to people, building relationships. And right now, look at us, we're sitting behind computer screens all over.
Yeah,
here we are again. But I was able to take, kind of the investment management experience and the things that I learned there, combined with a desire to really build relationships and work with families and individuals and businesses. Financial planning and building a financial planning practice was kind of the perfect combination and the perfect place to next step as well. So really, really excited about that.
Why Thrivent?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'd say Thrivent is probably the largest company no one's ever heard of. So they are a Fortune 500 company. They're a not-for-profit, member-owned organization. So a lot of the funding is going back into the community that we operate in through nonprofits and churches. Through really our members get to direct how we donate those dollars back into the community. So more of our money is spent on community engagement in that way versus necessarily advertising, and then really growing relationships one-on-one.
That I did not realize that. That's really that's impressive. I like that bio of the company. That's one of the reasons that I actually joined Keller Williams as well, but is because they believe in giving back to the community. It's not just about the buck. It is about giving back and having a great heart for just service. which is what I loved about it. And it sounds like Thrivent is very much the same as that. I love that.
Absolutely. And when I was looking, where to start a business, where to start a financial planning practice under, their ethics as a company, they're doing, the focus on community was such, spoke, to my values as well. So it was kind of a perfect fit from the start.
Awesome. Tell me now, of course, I'm a real estate broker. And when it comes to financial planning, people come to you obviously with homes and are looking for long-term benefits on how am I going to retire? How is this going to happen? Or how am I going to prepare for my tomorrow? I would imagine that's what they're coming to you with majority of the time. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So yeah, there's a lot of questions in there, and I'm glad you brought up, a home purchase, because that's honestly like the largest purchase someone will ever make in their life. The majority of the time is going to be their house. And those decisions, people aren't staying in the same house like they used to. And so when they're spending and when they're selling, when they're buying over their lifetime is so key. And it's important to have guidance along that. And I know you do a great job working with your clients. Like, it's not just about the sale for you. I know it's more, giving them the right information to make informed decisions at the best time for them. And then too, people as they're approaching retirement, some people are looking at downsizing. Some people are looking at moving closer to their children, their grandchildren. Some people want to be warmer. I know it's bright and sunny out here, but it was 35 degrees. So I know people, want to have those homes that they can go to and relax and really enjoy the retirement that they've built and designed for themselves. So yeah, that's a huge part of the question that we face. What else is I'll clear up just a misconception about financial planning. Is a lot of the industry, there's kind of two opposite ends. There's portfolio managers, and then there's more insurance sales. And while those are two key parts to any financial plan, it's our job as financial planners to kind of combine all the things. So we're not just talking about portfolio. Like, the biggest thing, we're talking about your values. Like, what do you want for yourself? Like, not only in the future, but now, and what do we have to do to reach those goals? So there's, many things, even not financially related, that we have to dive into and kind of put together. So where we differentiate ourselves as planners is just kind of being the connector of all those parts. And then at the same time, like myself, I hold the licenses where I can service that range depending on what the client needs. But the basis of everything we do is fiduciary advice.
So if a person was to spend, let's say, a half an hour with you, at the end of that half an hour, what are they? I know that's an initial meeting, but what are they at the end of that half an hour? What has happened for them? Which is the direction that they've taken? What are the steps that they will start seeing clarity on?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I kind of try to set the expectations of what the first half-hour meeting is about. And honestly, it's about the client, the potential client, the person that walked through the door, the family. It's getting to know them and their values. Like, what do you want for yourself as well? We don't even really talk about how much is in your 401k, how much you built up. Like, that's all important, but really, all those decisions are going to be based on just us getting to know each other, and if we're a good fit, and if really what I provide is what they're looking for, because at the end of the day, that's truly what matters. So hopefully by the end of the meeting, they have a clear, expectation of what they would need to do and the decisions they would need to make as far as next steps, and then have more clarity around what they want for themselves and what their mindset around money is. If we can, accomplish that, then there's a lot of moving further in the process, and maybe it's not now, but it could be 2-3 years from now in the future that I could potentially be a resource.
Oh, awesome. Well, hopefully they would begin now, because it seems like if you plan it now, then 2-3 years down the line, you're that much better than if you started off. I remember doing Rich Dad, Poor Dad, reading that book with our sons, and saying, see how if you do it now, you'll be so much better. Before you know it, you're 55 like me, and 56 this year, and time goes by awful fast. So
absolutely.
I would imagine sooner better than later. So something else that's happened, Robert, is people get overwhelmed because they feel like, oh my gosh, financial planner, I don't have those kinds of assets. I don't have that kind of money. I don't have, I don't need that kind of planning because that's just going to take more out of my pocket. What do you say to those people who are sort of I feel like they're a little misinformed about it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a really great question to ask. What I'll say is that I've found a way to work with any individual. I have a couple clients that are literally just out of college, like their first career job, and we may be talking about how to put a little bit of money in a Roth each month, right? Just to start and see that grow and watch it. And then I know 10 years from now, like that's going to be an incredible client to work with as well, and just helping them get that start early. And then on the opposite end, yeah, of course, there's the clients, that have a lot more assets that they've generated and gathered. And that's where things start to be, more complex and complicated. But we always find a way to price accordingly to make sure we can still get people what they want. And, sometimes I'll pose the question too, maybe it's someone that's racked up a whole lot of credit card debt or student loans, and the combination of that, which is extremely common nowadays, even for people in their 30s and 40s, is what's going to have to happen for you to change the way you're doing things. And is, the fee that we come up with or the way we find a way to work together, is that going to be the catalyst that changes and can change your life and your children's lives forever and your legacy? And when you look at that, there's, a clear defined way of the value that we can bring, for the price that you're paying effectively.
I am so excited to hear you saying what you're saying, because I know many of my clients and the audience that this will go out to need exactly that, but feel overwhelmed. So we'll be meeting every Tuesday at 2:00. Tell me, what is our next topic? Where are we going with our next topic, and what are people tuning into next week, Tuesday at 2?
Yeah, absolutely. So really excited about this one. So this one maybe is for a little bit more of a sophisticated investor, but not necessarily. We're going to try to bring a case study effectively of a client that I worked with that had a property that was worth, effectively $1 million plus as a rental property. And we're putting in a strategy to effectively negate capital gains while giving them benefits specific to this year that they're taking advantage of to help reduce income taxes, help them diversify their portfolio, but really set them up in a good place while making hundreds of thousands of dollars of impact to their bottom line and their net worth. So that's what we'll be going through, and there'll be some fun tax strategies that, really those people that are, 10 million plus are using day in and day out because the people they work with live and breathe this. But the people that are more mainstream investors just haven't been taught this yet. So really excited to share, and some things that they can take home and do themselves, or we can work together on.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I would imagine that that's not going to be just for that $1 million plus investor, but the person who is just even looking to get started and sowing those seeds towards investment, because I have a bunch of people who are looking to invest in real estate who are just wondering, how do I get this started so it's the best benefit for me? And
it'll be perfect, for if you're just getting started or you've built up a portfolio of real estate as well, everywhere in between, to me, knowledge is power. So regardless of where you're at in the process, having those resources and that knowledge is going to help.
Awesome. I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Robert. I'm glad that we're able to connect this way, but we're not going to have it in person, but this is okay because I screened.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for having me, and look forward to doing, a few more of these sessions in the coming weeks.